What is up, guys? Sawcasm here, and today I have for you guys a double MOAB playing some ground war domination on the map Bakaara. And a little bit of background on this gameplay. It's actually a double BROAB, I guess you could call it. Me and GreenGoblinHD both got double MOABs this game, and so it was pretty impressive, I would say, since 4 MOABs from 2 people in one game. That's pretty sick in my opinion. So he actually posted this same gameplay from his point of view on his channel, so I'll link that in the description. You could check out the gameplay from his point of view, so you get kind of a different sense of what was going on and what he was doing. So yeah, this guy right here, that Duram, he was actually a session joiner, and I don't know if he was a subscriber of one of ours, but he kept joining our session, and he was like trying to be funny or whatever. He was trying to just quick scope us and just kept running at us, but I mean, don't do that. If you really want to get in touch with the commentator, you want to play with him, that's definitely not the way to go, because basically you're probably going to end up getting blocked or muted and all that, the whole shenanigans, the whole 9 yards if you end up joining their session. People don't really like when you join their session, and myself included, so please don't join my session. That's not really a good way to get in touch with me. Mainly if you want to play with me, I would suggest hitting me up on Twitter. And I really like to communicate with my fans and my subscribers on Twitter. I don't really like to say fans. It's kind of, I don't know, I don't feel like I'm that big of a channel to say I have fans, but I really like to interact with my subscribers, and Twitter is definitely the place to go for that. So if you want to hit me up, you want to play sometime, definitely message me on Twitter, and maybe we'll get some games in sometime. So other than that, back to the gameplay. I know I just went on a little bit of a session join Twitter rant, whatever, but so the first MOAB I was playing a little bit passively and a little bit defensively, as I like to do when going for double MOABs, because my logic is that if you could get a first MOAB when going for a double MOAB within, say, 100 points of domination, and it's a pretty good time limit to actually give yourself to get a MOAB, it's pretty reasonable, considering that will be about 4 to 6 minutes for most domination games. Could go a little bit more, a little bit less sometimes, but generally it's a pretty good amount of time to secure a MOAB. And by secure a MOAB, I mean play really safe for one, and don't make too many risky decisions, too many risky moves. That sometimes those risky moves will help you get a faster MOAB, but when you're going for a double MOAB, I just like to go for the safe, secure, and almost guaranteed MOAB. So that's what I was doing this first one. You see, I'm really playing passive, sitting back, waiting for the enemies to come to me, and using my radar to my advantage. You see, I know exactly where my team is. Obviously, on the radar, you can see where your team is, and kind of through this and through the flags that the enemy has, I'm using this to determine where the enemy is. So on Bakaara in particular, there's quite a few places on each flag that you could actually spawn trap the enemies if you have the other 2 flags. So if they only have A, I kind of like to go right up in their spawn. You kind of use these little buildings and go through the little alleys and kind of juke them out from all sides, and you could kind of just run through them, zigzag through them, and you can kind of pick them off and then just run backwards, come the other way, and you keep doing the same. It probably sounded a little bit complicated, but basically, if you kind of just run around those buildings and juke them out, kind of like Pac-Man, you just go around the edges, and then you want to pick one guy off, or 1 or 2 guys, and then just run back the other direction, and then you'll be able to catch usually a few people in their spawn over in that A area. So that's what I was trying to do. I really like to do that when the enemy team only has A. It is hard if you don't secure the B and C flags first, so I would definitely recommend doing that. That's really, really important, because without doing that, you're not going to be able to spawn trap them in A. So it's kind of like you have to work up to it. First, you have to do the chores, okay? You have to do the boring chores. You have to secure the flags, the 2 flags that you want to be able to get the enemy spawn trapped. You have to do the chores, alright? Then after that, after you do all the chores, you can go out. You can go to the movies. You can go play some Call of Duty, whatever. You go to the park. You can do whatever the hell you want to do. So I know it's terrible, terrible logic, and don't ever quote me on this, please. I never want to hear this logic again, because it is probably one of the worst analogies that I've ever come up with. But it works, because it's kind of like, it's just something you have to do in order to reap the rewards of actually being able to, spawn trap the enemies and get lots of kills in a short period of time. And that's pretty much the goal of domination, to be honest. Simply put, I mean, there's different degrees of spawn trapping. Some people think that spawn trapping is just, you know, standing in one spot where the enemy they know is going to spawn and just locking them in that one spot, but I definitely disagree. I think spawn trapping is kind of more of containing the enemies in their one flag and kind of just holding them to that one spawn, that one general area, not just one specific spawn point. So yeah, enough about that. I know I'm just a bunch of different rants. This is a ranting video. I mean, it's double MOAB, so I have quite a lot of time to talk about and rant about this crap. But yeah, so I forgot to mention my class setup. I think it's pretty obvious at this point. The ACR silencer extended mags, pretty standard as far as, you know, MOAB class setups go. If you are still struggling to get that first MOAB, or just any MOAB for that matter, I would definitely suggest putting this class setup on. Usually I rock the gold camo, but for this game, for some reason, I was just mixing it up with the blue. I don't know. I do have gold since I use it a lot, obviously, but I don't know why I wasn't using gold. So yeah, this is a really great class setup. I think it speaks for itself. I mean, you know, there's so many gameplays of it on YouTube, and for good reason, because it really is a good setup. So I come back to this area once again, and you see sometimes in that corner they spawn there, and even if you're just right around that corner, and their goblin calls in his MOAB. At this point he has 2. And I'm just pretty much just scrambling for my second MOAB at this point, because you know, when anybody in the game gets a MOAB, but then they wipe out the enemy team, usually the spawns are going to flip, so you're not going to have the same map knowledge that you did before the MOAB was called in. But I got my second M.O.A.B. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to call in any of them in because we were EMP'd as he was calling in his MOAB. But anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you hated it, be sure to leave a dislike, leave some hateful comments, and unsubscribe. Thanks for watching. Bow!